So for you guys that have watched my other car review, I had gotten the 2018 BMW M3. I got that about a year ago, and a few months back traded it in for the 2017 LP580 Lamborghini Huracan, which has been a dream car of mine for a really, really long time. So I wanted to do a quick review on this car. I've driven it for about 3 months now. I wanted to get a feel for it, learn more about the car before I made a review. And I know a lot of the guys that do reviews don't actually own the car, right? So big difference when you just get in it once, it's not your car. You're kind of timid to drive it, or you only see a few driving shots of them actually in it. So LP580, there's the LP610. I got this car, the 580, not so much because of price, it is a little bit cheaper, but because of the colorway. I saw this car on the lot. I didn't care if it was a 580 or a 610. Major difference between those two is going to be that the 580 is rear wheel only, which for some people is more fun, and the 610 is all-wheel drive, also has about 20-30 more horsepower. So LP580 pushing 572 horsepower. I think it's 398 pounds of torque, and I think you're maxing out the torque at about 7,000 RPMs. Could be wrong, don't hold me to that, but this car is extremely fun and a lot more practical than what I thought. I daily drive this. I live in South Florida, and I know a lot of people would say you're crazy for daily driving a Lamborghini, but they killed it with the Huracan. I have the Alcantara. It's like a suede with the leather on the outside of the seats, which we'll show here in a second, but super comfortable. They're the comfort seats. Really practical. I've actually had zero issues driving the car around the city with comfort. I really never had a complaint about the comfort of the car. So for being a Lamborghini, for being a coupe, for being extremely small, the comfort is amazing compared to other supercars. Some cool features. I know you guys always see the Lambo dashboard. It looks like there's like a ton going on, but in reality, there's not at all. It's 2 windows, a dead button. This does nothing. Parking sensors, hazards, traction, and then the lift. So this comes in handy when you're driving around in the city, gas stations, you got to pull into lots, click it up. Car raises a good, I would say 3 to 4 inches off of the ground, which is super convenient again if you live in a city, somewhere with potholes, or even places where you just need to pull into lots, right? They have those V-dips. Again, I've never bottomed out in this car. Obviously, you need to be careful and caution it. And have caution when you're pulling in places, but I've never had an issue with the car. So this feature, it'll keep the car raised until 45 miles per hour, which is also really convenient if you're on back roads, or if you're on a road that is bumpy, needs maintenance. There's a lot of roads in Miami like that. I'll just keep this up. I'm cruising under 45 miles an hour. Very, very convenient. So as you can tell too, as I've been talking, you can't really hear the car. It's because it's in Strata mode. Very fuel efficient. I know a lot of people that drive Lamborghinis don't really care about the fuel efficiency, but if you're cruising somewhere, if you got to go on a long ride, if you're on the highway, if there's traffic, whatever it might be, this is a really cool feature just because it makes the car practical. I used to have a E93 M3 that was straight piped, and everywhere you drive, it's just so loud, you can't get away from the loudness. So being that I daily drive this, I do like this feature. Now you click it into sport, probably can't hear the too big of a difference, and then you click it into Corsa. The RPMs go up to about 1,200 idling, whereas Strata, the car is going to idle around, I would say 800, 600, 800. So Corsa, the car's ready to go. We'll get some driving shots here in a little bit, but just a little bit more on the interior. Really cool, kind of like wacky feature that I figured out is everywhere you look in the car, look at the vents, it's a hexagon. You look at in the dashboard, hexagon. You look at the button, hexagon. You look at the outside of the button, hexagon. You look at this dial, hexagon. You look at the door, there's even an empty hexagon right here. So the door handles, everything in the car is a hexagon. And I'm not really sure why. It doesn't really make sense. I guess someone at Lamborghini said, let's just hexagon everything. But it's kind of cool. I actually saw that in another review. Doug DeMero, he was pointing it out, and he talked about hexagons for like 30 minutes. But really weird. Even the vents, hexagon shape. So I don't understand what it is. But some other cool things, you have the traditional Lamborghini flip switch right here. It's start, stop. Cool little feature where you can get in the car and feel like you're getting in a fighter jet. This car did come with the traveler's kit, so you'll see back here there's a netting, convenient if you have drinks. There is only one cup holder here. I don't really advise having much in there if you're going to drive fast at all. But the netting is very convenient. We put bottled drinks back there. If you have supplies, a backpack even can fit behind the seats. Small items you can put in the netting. You don't want moving around. Really, really convenient. And I mean, you're looking at the inside of the car. There's really not a ton to it. So let's get into driving. That's really what everyone loves. So we're gonna flip the dash here, if you can see the dash. Right now it's in just the normal mode. I have an Strada. We'll click it into sport and then make the dash the RPMs only. So, I mean, really with like the flip of a switch, you're going from cruising, no one can hear you, to you put it in sport, and you click this button right here, manual button. I would like to think that's what it stands for, manual. So you're in full control here with the paddle shifters, massive paddle shifters. I mean, it got to be 8-inch long paddle shifters. So really anywhere throughout movement of the steering wheel, you're able to shift up or down, which is really cool. I'm coming from the F80 M3, really, really tiny paddle shifters. Wasn't really the happiest with that car. So with the Lambo, you get that full-on race mode feature, huge paddle shifters, really convenient. You can kind of hit it anywhere you're on the steering wheel. One other thing is, I know there's some features with the Huracan. You can get the glass back, or you can get the slotted, caged back, whatever you want to call it, slotted back engine cover. So if you look through the rear windshield, there's little to no visibility. Imagine taking your fingers and doing this and trying to look through the cracks. I mean, that's what it is. So with this car and that slotted back engine cover, you really got to use the side view mirrors and then your shoulder. Now, I would say the only blind spot that I've had an issue with is the passenger side rear. It's just really hard to see if there's a car right here, you're really low, but having a passenger in the car helps a lot. Again, I've not really had any major issues with traffic or visibility. I would say if I had to be a devil's advocate or point out a flaw, it would be that side is pretty hard to see when you don't have a passenger in there. Visibility in this car is all right. I'm about 6 feet tall, pretty standard. The windshield's very tiny, like very small. So when you pull up to a light, there's a lot of times where I'm having to look up and see if I can see the light. So you're definitely in a cockpit here. I would say anyone over 6'4", 6'5", you're gonna have a really tough time in this car. Most people are not that tall, but if you are, I would suggest an SUV because it is definitely tight in here. So this is on sport mode, which it took me like a month to figure out. But on sport mode, when you redline, the car will auto shift. Even if you're in manual mode, the car will shift for you. So that was sport mode. We'll put it in the course now. This is where you get that redline jerk, all manual. If you don't shift it when it redlines, the car won't shift. So let's get around this bend. This mode's crazy. Wait for this. I swear to God, this is the only car that you really can never get tired of. I think unless you track a car like this, you'll never fully open it up unless you track it. Like, I feel like this car, even the 580, I can't even imagine like the Performante and all that. All the extra power is great. On a day-to-day basis, like, you can't use all that power, right? So that's why I just love this car. I think it's perfect for the street. 570 horsepower, like, it's enough where you can have fun. I mean, the 0 to 60 is 3 seconds, a little over 3 seconds. It's unbelievable. It gives me the butterfly feeling every single time I drive it. Never gets old. I think this is probably one of the most aggressively priced supercars right now. LP580. You know, I got this for $189,000. There's some out there for cheaper, some for more, but a supercar like this for sub $200,000, it's unbelievable. The power you get from it is just, it's wild. A huge question that I had when I was trying to go buy one of these, because no one for some reason ever talks about like how much they actually cost, in the sense of what do you need to be able to buy a Lamborghini, right? And I'm not talking about just money or how much the car costs, like what are the actual details of buying a car. For example, this one, $190,000 car. I couldn't find that anywhere. I've seen some vlogs and some things of people buying Aventadors and stuff like that, but never like a practical video that really broke down exactly what it takes. So I had two cars before this. I had a 2010 Rolls-Royce Ghost, and I had a 2018 F80 M3. I told them, hey, I'll trade in both of these cars. I was in negative equity, right? So I'm very open. I was in $25,000 worth of negative equity between those two cars. One of the biggest mistakes you can do when buying a car is never buy a car brand new. First of all, that is the worst mistake I made with that M3. Second, with the Ghost, I overpaid it. My fault, I'll take responsibility for that. But most cars, you're never really gonna make money on unless it's your profession and you're trying to soup up cars and flip them, whatever. Most people just buy cars, they use them, they beat them, they put miles on them, the value goes down, whatever. So I was in $25,000 worth of negative equity. I have about a 680 credit score, below average, not great. Student loans, years back, messed me up, rebuilding it. American Express did approve me though. So, 680 credit score. I'm in $25,000 worth of negative equity between two cars. And I got a deal, and this was the deal. $50,000 down on the Lambo. So I would be financing $139,000 based off of my income and my credit score, plus the $25,000 I owed on the other cars. So to get out of my two other cars and get in this car, it cost me $77,000 to get in this car. Now I know a lot of people have their opinion, it's stupid, it's this and that, but what I've realized is cars like this, right, a Huracan, they've already hit that depreciation, right? They're gonna continue to depreciate, whatever. But the thing is, I looked, I think it was a week ago, I looked at how much this car is worth. They were gonna give me $185,000, and I bought it for $189,000. So not the worst depreciation on this car, and as you go up in the chain of cars that you're getting, but it cost me $77,000, $50,000 of it went towards the car. I'm on a balloon payment, which means I financed $134,000. I'm paying it off like a lease over the next 5 years, and then at the end I have an option to buy the car or trade it in. I think within 5 years I will definitely have a different car, but that's what it took to get in this car. $77,000 down, $50,000 towards the car. So if you don't have any cars or you're equal on your trade-in, you know, let's just say that it would cost you about $40,000 to $70,000 down, depending on your credit score, your loan history, all that, to get into a $190,000 car.